everyone. Thank you for helping out for another session today. Um, it's good to have you here. My name is Ransom Onyema. I'm a medical radiographer, um, a medical writer, and also a YouTuber. And today I have an amazing guest speaker, and his name is Dr. Amel. But I'm gonna give him the page to introduce himself, so you guys will get to know more about him and his work. So, Dr. Emil, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your channel. It's a great honor. My name is Amel Havkic. I am a practicing physician, but I'm also the founder of EvoMed Consulting. As such, I advise MedTech companies. I've been doing that since a few years right now, and few years meaning 7 8 years roughly. And in my consulting work, I developed a framework for bridging basically the gap between clinical reality and how those solutions are made, which is in a lab. Ultimately, we went on to get or multiple awards for that framework. Um, the last one was in Dubai this year. Personally, I got Best Rising Star in MedTech of the Year, which is a great honor as well. Yeah, and why am I doing this is actually what I want is I want to see a world where every patient gets the best possible care imaginable. And what better way to do that than MedTech, right?
Amazing, Dr. Emil. Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself to the audience. And I believe that they have a nutshell of what you do and what you offer. And as we digress further, they'll get to know more about you. Now, the first question for you, Dr. Emil, is all right. So you've had an amazing, impressive journey thus far as a clinical leader, an international speaker, and founder as well. What really inspired you to create one stab map AI, right? And what problem were you hoping to totally solve in general? Talk us through.
Well, I think it is something that you know all too well. I mean, the whole radiology field is something which by now extremely leans on medical technology, on medtech, on digital solutions. But you probably run into the problem that from time to time it felt like you're fighting the system, and this is due to the fact that I mentioned earlier. So what actually happens is that you have developers working on those solutions who don't really know the reality of the work that we do on the hospital floor. Something which is natural for them does not mean that is natural for you and the way you do things when someone orders, let's say, a chest X-ray. So what that does is, and there's very good data on this, it heightens the fatigue of medical professionals. It heightens the burnout rate. It heightens the rate of depression, of suicide, even. Because it puts a very big burden, mental load on the healthcare deliveral, on the healthcare practitioners themselves. Um, so while working in the while working on the ICU, um, that thing came up again and again and again, and I set up on a mission to try to change that and get the reality, or get those solutions closer to reality and how we really do things. Um, this is I ultimately made this the topic of my research. So, what are the success factors in healthcare and how to reach clinical adoption? Um, the result of my research ultimately ended up being the STARMR framework. So, not the AI part, but the framework. Um, I worked on the framework quite a lot. developed then in the EvoMed with the help of quite some good people, the StarMap AI as a beta version, and now we're already at StarMap OS for operating system, where we create a full operating system for MedTech companies powered by AI, or at least supported by AI. Important for the rest of the discussion also, when I say AI, I mean augmented intelligence. I don't believe in artificial intelligence in healthcare, but it needs to support our decisions. And ultimately, what drove me on that path is the frustration that me and my colleagues, you as well, probably have on everyday in everyday contact with medtech.
Hmm. Dr. Amel, I'm very intrigued about your journey thus far and how you've combined a lot of things you're doing, being an international speaker, being a clinical leader, and also being a founder because, you know, I've spoken with a couple of founders out there and, you know, they always talk about their jobs being time taken. Like they take whole much of the time. They don't have other, you know, times to, you know, have other extracurricular curricular activities. But seeing you doing such a thing, balancing it all, even plus family, it's amazing. Dr. Elma, thank you very much for talking us through and why really inspired you to create StarMap AI, which is an amazing initiative, to enable healthcare, especially in the radiology field, because more technologies are involving especially the radiology field. When you talk about CT, we have 64 slides now. We have, I think, 120 slides now. We have MRI, different slices. You come to radiotherapy, you see many involving technologies happening over there, even nuclear medicine and the rest of them. It's so amazing to see the work you're doing, Dr. Emma, and we wish you all the best. So that draws us to the next question for you. Now, you solely help medtech leaders, right, define their position in the healthcare space, right? Why do you think so many talented professionals out there still struggle to communicate their values and expertise effectively? Why? What do you think?
That's actually an excellent question. Um, and I write this in a chapter of my upcoming book, Fit Before Scale. So what keeps happening repeatedly is almost certainly that the biggest strong points of an innovator is most likely his biggest blind spot as well. What do I mean with this? Um, every type of innovator comes with his own professional bias. Ultimately, what we did is we were able to distill it pretty much to four archetypes of founders. One, which we call the overloaded innovator. What that means is that's usually someone, a medical professional, or someone who has a disease himself, or someone in his close vicinity who sets out on a journey to create a solution for that problem, but ultimately gets overwhelmed with the sheer complexity of healthcare system, um, like direct and indirect when it comes to medtech. The second one is something that we call the adoption stack builder. Those are typically extremely strong technological solutions. The founders are typically um, IT specialists, PhDs in those types of fields. So they have a very good understanding of the technology behind their solution. But what usually ends up happening with them is that they struggle with the workflows and understanding the workflows of a hospital, because as you know, uh, um, the hospital, the healthcare environment is a microcosm of its own. Then we have something that we call the fundability seeker. This is usually someone who comes from a finance background or an MBA. um, they oftentimes have they oftentimes think that financing or just getting like finance rounds done will make out for adoption, and they have then some delayed risk that they accumulate. And then we have specifically a big part of something we call the strategic explorer. Those are the people who don't really know what they want to achieve, so they jump from one solution to the other, from one strategy to the other, not giving any strategy time to fully develop. So the biggest strength of a founder ultimately ends up being his biggest blind spot. And sometimes what drags the whole company down. So recognizing these biases is the first step into getting a solution all the way to the bedside.
Dr. Amel, I want to ask you another question, right? There may be um MedTech leaders that watch this video, right? And they're they're very talented professionals, and they have the adequate communication skill, the values, the expertise, and the rest of them. What are the platforms you suggest MedTech leaders that they have all the abilities to communicate? Like I said, they have the values, they have the right mindset, they have the good expertise. What platforms do you think is worthy for them to, move into, to communicate properly, to, you
Mhm.
know, share the values, to
Mhm.
collaborate with other leaders? What platforms do you suggest them to join?
So what you would want to do is you want to surround yourself with people who are not only in the same expertise or in the same field as you, but who are also in the same mindset and the same energy at that point. So as far as I understood, when you mean platform, you mean like, okay, where to join, where to like make connections. Obviously, in person is best. So whatever venues or congresses they are, which are relevant to them, depends on what type of solution they are making. So for a radiology solution, a radiological congress might make sense to meet doctors, to meet practitioners, to meet vendors, and learn from them as well. But as we know, this oftentimes comes with a lot of struggle, and it's not something that everyone can afford. May it be time wise, affording when it comes to time, may it be affording when it comes to money, ultimately. So one online place, which obviously is the place to go for many business related things, is LinkedIn. So why do I say LinkedIn? Reason is that if someone is on LinkedIn, he's somehow in business mode. He's somehow in working mode. It's not somewhere where you go to relax or let's call it I don't know, to watch some brain rot. When people go on LinkedIn, they're looking for opportunities. They're looking for learn to learn. So they're in the right mindset, and this is a place where you can really make meaningful connections. Um, Another thing which is obviously extremely good is YouTube. And to YouTube, I personally go when I want to learn something. So if I want to learn something about a specific topic or how other people do other things, I like to listen to voice or see a video. So personally, I prefer then going to YouTube to see to learn about things. Definitely, EvoMed Consulting has a YouTube channel. So there we put up mostly things that I talk about in congresses, keynote speeches, and similar. So whoever wants to learn more about MedTech is welcome to go and follow and subscribe. Um, But LinkedIn is, I think, the way to go for like a easy, fast, to make easy, fast impact and connections with other fellow innovators.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much, Dr. Emil, for that one. And I believe that MedTech leaders that watch this video, you know, they have their own options right now to either choose what works for them. And if you're looking forward to connecting with Dr. Emil, his details will be in the YouTube description below. Do well to check him out and also give him a follow, or you can, send him a message, and you guys will go from there. He's an amazing person, amazing. So, Dr. Emil, the next question for you is, now this is a very personal question, and I know that you're very much ready for a question. Was there a solid particular moment in your career that changed the way you think about leadership, innovation, and healthcare?
Um, so I'm in healthcare now for 15 plus years, not counting university. And before going to university, I also did nursing school back in Bosnia. So I'm cumulative in this space since I'm 13. I'm 37 now, so we're approaching 20 years. Um, but there were moments where I saw peers or colleagues from the leadership team um, really taking certain positions of power, which they were misusing to get their get to their goal, independent of what happens in between. The thing is that we do healthcare for people, we do it for humans, and not only for the humans we do it for, so for our patients, but we also do it for our colleagues in some way. I think there's uh, no other industry or no other branch where people sacrifice themselves so much to support their colleagues and to support their peers. And there is from time to time, due to the authority and the power that you have in it, there is from time to time someone who would use this or abuse this. On the other hand, what it does, due to the responsibility that comes with it, it gives you the possibility to shape people's lives in a positive manner, to impact them in such a way to make their lives better, to make them also or challenge them to grow as humans, as personality, as character. And what is important in that matter, in that constellation, is in my experience, and I'm in leadership position since 2018 or 19. So also like almost a decade now, is to really see the human behind your colleague, no, and to act like they're humans. So I run multiple leading hospital units up until now. And I still have the largely the same team I had in my very first leadership position. So the people we were connecting with followed me through to all of the journey which was following, all the way up until now. And my current job, I'm head of of a specialized department in the University Thoracic and so in the Elizabethan Hospital, and they were having concerns that we will not be able to get the team together, but we did get the team together, specifically with the therapists, with logopedics, respiratory therapists, and so on, because we see the human, and because we select more for, let's call it, cultural fit than we do for qualification. I mean, someone who isn't like fully qualified for something, you can teach him. But if someone doesn't fit the team from as a human connection, that is something you cannot teach. Seeing colleagues getting into burnout because they got mobbed by their bosses, my peers, and that happening all over and over is something which really inspired me to do things in a different way. And up until today, I can say it served me quite well.
Dr. Emil, I just remembered your terrible story, you had in the past, and this question I asked you, I crafted out from that your experience. So Dr. Emil, in just a nutshell, right? You know, when I got in touch with your wife, she told me about a couple things, a couple terrible omens you've experienced. I think when you were in Bosnia, before you moved to Germany, something that that really touched me. And before we proceed, could you just tell us how those experiences you've had shaping you or shaped you to becoming the doctor you are right now, currently? Talk us
Um,
through.
well, it's the story is about the Bosnian War, and all the things that were happening back there. Reality is that there's a lot of things in the world which are not nice, and they happen also to people who are good, not just to people who are bad. So the world isn't completely fair. So the experiences that I have was pretty much the war, post-war time in Bosnia, from fleeing out of Bosnia to Germany back then, to getting deported in '96 back to Bosnia. That's something that today we don't see that much, but back then it was everyday thing. So today I mentioned this. Someone asked me why I speak German that good, and I learned it while I was a kid as a refugee in Germany back then. But reality being that people had colleagues in their classes who from one day to the other disappeared. So mid of the year they just like disappeared. They won't coming to classes anymore. And then when they were so first thing that I take home or I took home from that experience is that although difficult things happen to us, we don't have to let them define our future. So difficult past doesn't mean that we need to have a difficult future as well. We are sentient beings as humans. We have the whole that there's unlimited potential. There's so much capacity in each and every one of us, and we need to, in my opinion, we have the responsibility of becoming the best possible versions of us, not only for us but also for all the people in our lives that our character, our present touches. That goes to family, that goes to patients as well. That's one thing. So in my opinion, it's important to stay humble, and to understand that every person is worth because it's a person, not because what he does, what his job is. So those are some things. Another thing that I learned is that not everywhere in this world. So I came to Germany back in 2013. Up until then, I was living in Bosnia. And Bosnia is officially the second poorest country in Europe, just after Ukraine, who has now like 3 years of war. So just like to give you a feeling, when I came back to Bosnia, I had a, I got, so we left on my birthday, on my sixth birthday. No, or was it seventh birthday? We left on that day. And as a gift, I got from my aunt who was living in Germany a Game Boy. So we arrived in Bosnia, and I couldn't play games anymore because we didn't have batteries. So we couldn't buy batteries to put it in the Game Boy just to those experience also show you or like give you a feeling of how it is in other places in the world. And although now I'm doing good for myself, I am very aware that something can happen anytime for me to not have the abilities or the resources that I have at the moment. And I think it's very important to remember that life is precious, and that things in life can come, difficult things, but it is also within our power to have the agency to make the best of our situations. And there's one thing which we should not do, and that is fall into despair, no matter how difficult the surrounding is, or the situation is that we are in at that moment.
Wow. That was wow. That was a very terrible experience, Dr. Amel. You know, everybody has a story to tell in one way or the other. And I've had a couple of guest speakers on my YouTube that med students they were affected by the Ukraine and Russian war, but you know they had to migrate to Netherlands from Netherlands to different countries before they settled down in Poland. And right now, I think last month they graduated. They're now medical doctors. But it seemed impossible when they were in that struggle. And this is like a disclaimer. If you're struggling right now, no matter what you're passing through, no matter whatever it is, it shall definitely come to pass, right? You'll definitely come out from that struggle. When you look at Dr. Emil, you will never imagine that he has passed through such awkward moments, but he's now a testament. Be a medical doctor or whatever medical student you're passing through. A couple things I think Dr. Emil's stories, elevate your mindset to know that all things work out, all things are possible if you put your mind in. And yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Emil, for sharing that touching story. And I believe that the audience are now quite lightened, by your story. And yeah, let's move forward to the next question. Through your work with EvoMed Consulting, you've solely worked with many leaders and organizations out there. What's one common challenge you've seen repeatedly, and how can it be overcome? Tapestry.
Um, so independent, if we are talking big corporates or small startups, ultimately every company faces the same challenges at one point, and that is getting broad clinical adoption. Thing is, when they develop certain solutions, you usually orient them through, or you collect your first feedback from pilots, you collect them from your key opinion leaders, so KOLs. But one important thing to understand is that a KOL or a pilot is not representative of the overall market that you're getting into. It's not real life, it's pretty much a lab environment. Because when you have a pilot, the pilot hospital or the pilot clinic, or the doctor using your solution, he has your support through the pilot. If something is up, he can call you at. You have sometimes medtech companies have like special personnel that just like take care of one uh, key account, so one important pilot that they're running. Um, But in real life, you don't have those things. In real life, things are wild, things get messy. We're talking about people who are not rested. So it's not or not in a bubble. So it's not the professor who has all the resources at his hand whenever he needs them, but it's a junior doctor who is at 3 a.m. somewhere completely overworked and overwhelmed with the situation. So when creating those solutions, you should keep that in mind. And one, make them easy to use, but two, make them also fail safe or idiot proof if you want. So they need to be as simple that a tired human being can still use them and get at least roughly the same result as someone who just like woke up from a good night's sleep, no kids to wake him up, and had still time to go to the gym before going to work. So those are completely different worlds, and I think everyone does good just to remember that healthcare is chaos. And if you manage to bring order into that chaos, you are delivering tons of value.
Amazing, Dr. Emil. Yeah, that's amazing. Um, um, so as we are talking about this, another question popped up right now. Now, what do you think are the major opportunities right now that healthcare professionals should be, paying more attention right now?
That's a very, very good question. Big opportunity is, I would say, AI literacy. Um, so AI literacy, meaning I mentioned before, when I say AI in healthcare, my opinion is that AI should not be regarded as artificial intelligence, but augmented intelligence. And that means that it's supposed to help the humans make the right decisions. Now, the fact is, and there's also data on this, like a big, big majority of physicians worldwide don't utilize AI at all. I know also all the reasons. I mean, I'm consulting a lot on this, and in my own work, I use AI in my private practice in the hospital. It's not always made natural, but AI literacy, understanding what is coming, understanding how it can be used to improve the work and improve the quality of work, and speed up the work that we're doing. That is something which is important, and that is something which is a huge chance at the moment. So you can pretty much imagine it's not AI versus doctors or AI versus medical practitioners, general, but it's general or it's medical practitioners who use AI versus medical practitioners who don't. So if you manage to, it's not difficult. There's a lot of resources online which are for free, from Google on LinkedIn certificates. There's other. Kizra Ahmad, for instance, has a specific AI governance startup called Health Mate, MAIT, which is about AI in healthcare. There's Hello AI, which is a spin-off from some people from GE. So there are resources available. And I think the biggest opportunity at this moment is to become a physician or a medical practitioner who knows how to use AI.
Hmm. Thank you very much for that one, Dr. Emil, for sharing some major opportunities you think that healthcare professionals out there should be paying more close attention to right now. So the last question for you goes this way. Now, for someone out there looking to build a meaningful career in healthcare, while also creating impacts, right, beyond clinical practice, what sole advice would you give to them right now?
So I think it reflects a bit the road that I took or the journey that I took. A good advice is to not see those things inside and outside of the hospital as two separate things. Healthcare is an extremely complex system, and those things are just different parts from one ecosystem. And the reason why I personally manage, and I do struggle with managing all of those things, but um, the reason why I at least somehow manage to run them parallelly is that they're actually different parts in one journey, one ecosystem. If it would not be connected at all and have no touch points, that wouldn't work. But with how I see things and how I structure things in the end. It's pretty much different parts of one journey. So we have the private practice with the preclinic, so with patients getting diagnosed before they have to go to the hospital, then to the hospital with the normal ward and with the ICU and then the specialized respiratory unit. Then we have long term rehabilitation, where I was also working in a specialized unit before, and we're now building it up in Frankfurt. And then over all of that, a layer of MedTech and AI solutions who help guide the journey for the patients. And even before that, I mean, there's videos that we did in cooperation with some partners and clients of us, where we do education for patients on my private practice Instagram. You will see also a full list of all kinds of videos where we do education. So before the patient even becomes a patient. What I want to say with that is, don't view those things as separate things. It's one thing which goes through, or there's one red tape which goes through all of those things. And same goes for you. For instance, you work as a medical radiographer, but also as a medical writer, and somehow those things are connected, although like when you do the actual work, it's two completely different things. And then you have this channel, this YouTube, where you have another component of it. So there's other, obviously, like medical practitioners will be drawn to it, and you also manage to educate them and bring guests on your channel who can help them like grasp more. And it's again something completely different. You're sitting having a video, so to say, but somehow it's still connected. So I think what helps to sort it also in your head is to see this as multiple parts of one big ecosystem, and that makes the load much lighter.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amel. Um, you've been an amazing guest speaker today, and um, come to the end of the session. And before we wrap up the session, do you have any last word for the audience before we proceed? Any last word?
Yes, yes. I would take the opportunity to say, sign up for the waiting list for the book. I have the first proof copy right here. We will probably be able to somehow manage to include extremely big discount, maybe through the channel or something like that. So let's work that out. We didn't talk about this before, but the book will really help to understand the healthcare in general. It's coming out in November in MedTech Malta, so that's where we do the launch, but it will be available globally on Amazon. And I am sure we'll manage also to get some of them to your audience. Depends on uh, the solution that we find, but we'll find one.
Sure. So the links will be added to the YouTube description. And all the information you need there will be on the website. And so do well to like, share, and comment. And thank you very much, Dr. Emo, for your time today once again. And we wish you all the best with your work in general. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me on the channel.